This review has been made possible by Toyota of Naperville. As you know, Toyota has tons of brand new Toyotas available for purchase, but did you know that they also have a remarkable selection of used cars? Head on over to toyotaofnaperville.com and look through hundreds of used cars for sale right now.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2004 Lexus ES 330. Up front is a 3.3 liter V6 and down below is a 5-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this here ES for a couple of reasons. One reason is the fact that this car right here has over 200,000 miles, and it's always interesting to see vehicles like this and how they've held up. The other reason is the fact that I recently drove a Toyota Avalon from the same era, and they share a platform together, and so I'm excited to compare and contrast the Toyota version versus the Lexus version. But before we get on with anything else, I have a website, zackpradel.com, where you can submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me, if that's something you'd like. You could also buy merch like this retro sticker pack I have available, as well as you could read my behind-the-scenes blog to see what I'm filming that week. But let's get back to that 3.3 liter V6 under the hood, making 225 horsepower. Well, this was for the later facelift version of the ES. So this generation started in 2001 and went through 2006, but it went through a refresh this year in 2004. With that refresh, it got the 3.3 liter V6. However, the 3 liter V6 from the previous pre-facelift was also available at the same time. And that's why the name is 330, because it's a 3.3 liter where it used to be the ES 300. A little bit of drop in knowledge for you there. Like I said, paired to a 5-speed automatic transmission, it's okay. It's holding on to gears a little bit, but it is pretty cold this morning, so I can't blame it too much. And it does have 200,000 miles, so again, I can't blame the Lexus there. Last but not least, the ES 330 is front-wheel drive. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the interior. We have some surprising features in here. Well, in front of me, I have 3 gauges. On the left is my tachometer, in the center is my speedometer, and on the right is my fuel and coolant temperature. Very basic, simple, and easy to read gauges, which I like a lot. On the steering wheel, I have my mode and reset off to the bottom left, cruise control to the bottom right, and other than that, nothing really too crazy. I do have these nice little wood accents on the steering wheel that mimic the gauge cluster as well as the rest of the interior, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. The steering wheel feels nice, feels a little sporty actually, looks a little sporty, has this sort of gear looking center emblem, which is a little interesting. Reminds me a lot of the IS 300, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. Off to the left, I have my power mirrors and gauge dimmer switches. And on the door, I have my 2 memory seat options, lock and unlock, and power windows, which are all auto, which is told to me by this little badge. Moving into the center, I do have a digital clock, as well as the Lexus premium sound system with a CD player, 6-disc CD changer, and still has a cassette here in 2004, as well as, of course, AM, FM, and all your audio options. Down below that, we do have climate controls, dual zone climate, which is very nice for 2004. It also gets this nice little digital readout, and what's interesting is that the temperature doesn't say high, it says hot. I feel like most cars just say high or will be all the way up in the red, but this actually says hot. I think that's kind of funny. I do have this soft open cigarette lighter and ashtray, which is very nice. Of course, typical 12-volt outlet. And then we come down to the shifter area. Very clean and simple. I do have a button off to the left for the rear sunshade, which at 200,000 miles still works. That is impressive. And we can put that back down. Same button, you don't have to toggle it one way or the other, you just hit it again, which is very, very nice. Then we have the shifter off to the right. This is the jigsaw shifter from Toyota. They've used this for 2, almost 3 decades at this point, and it's fine, it does the job, and it's fairly simple. Then we do have cup holders that do pop out of the center console like they did in the Avalon, and so we'll do a big friggin' bottle test, and just like the Avalon, they do pass, but the cup holder isn't that sturdy. So, while it passes, I'm not happy about it. Then we do get a center console, nothing too crazy in here. However, it is dual opening, and like the Avalon, it has a 12-volt outlet in the larger compartment down at the bottom. The seats are nice and comfortable. They are finished in this leather, which is very early 2000s leather. which is to be expected, but they are pretty comfortable. However, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2004 Lexus ES 330. I'm chilly, so I have my jacket on. Please don't judge me. Honestly, the back seats are not as roomy as in the Toyota Avalon. Kind of interesting since they share a platform. But I do have like seat back pockets and vents, and I get this openable little center console with some cup holders in here as well. The seats themselves are finished in the same leather as up front, and they are very, very comfortable. I do like that a lot. And honestly, for a sedan, I'm very comfortable back here. It just felt like the Avalon was a little bit bigger, which I like a lot. But that's not to say that this is small by any means. This is a great back seat. I wouldn't mind riding back here for quite some time. I'm 5'11". I'm starting to get towards the ceiling a little bit, but nothing to complain about. Let's go take a quick look at the trunk in the freezing cold, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the ES 330. I already popped it from inside, but apparently that didn't work. There we go. And so the trunk of the ES is pretty huge, which is very, very nice. Like I said, this is the Avalon platform, so it's a lot larger. So it's to be expected, but really, really nice. I don't have the little holder thing that the Avalon had over there. But other than that, pretty simple, pretty basic cargo space, but you have plenty of it, which I really like. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I'm honestly not a huge fan of the way that this car looks. I think it is very blobby early 2000s. However, this car was designed by Kengo Matsumoto, I apologize if I mispronounced that, who also did the later Lexus ISF, which I think is fantastic, but I think the pinnacle of his work was the Lexus LFA. That's right, he designed that V10 supercar as well. So, Mr. Matsumoto definitely does have credentials to his name when it comes to designing vehicles. I just don't think that this is his best work. With all that being said, let's get to my final thoughts, and I have a couple more talking points about this here ES. What's interesting is that this ES 2001 to 2006 coincided with the release of the Lexus IS 300. One of my favorite cars and something that I think is going to be very valuable in the coming years. What's interesting is that the introduction of the IS allowed the ES to fully bloom. This is a fourth generation Lexus ES. They started back in 1989, and they were really Camrys that were up badged. I've always wanted to drive an older ES. If anyone has one, please let me know. But they kind of looked like Toyota Crowns, but were sold here in the US, and they were sort of the entry-level car for Lexus. Well, then they introduced the IS 300. That was their entry-level luxury car. And so it allowed the ES to get longer, to get bigger, to offer more options, and to go upscale and up the price bracket, making this a more proper luxury car. And I have to say, I think they've done a really good job. I also want to talk about the mileage with this car. 209,000 miles. That's around the equator of the Earth approximately 8 times and some. This car has held up extremely well. Looking around the cabin, driving it, I don't really notice too much out of place. Now, of course, owner's maintenance and owner care is going to play a lot into that, but the rear power sunshade still works. Albeit it's a little bit slower, but it still works. That's impressive. The heated seats, my seat's actually pretty warm. Something that our Chrysler Pacifica with half the mileage doesn't do anymore. The heated seats just don't heat. The radio, I was listening to the radio while setting up my equipment. It still works. It's a little staticky, but it still works. The only real signs of stress that I see in here is the passenger side window looks to have some scratches on it. I assume someone would frequently ride passenger and hold on to the door and maybe had longer nails or fake nails. And the other part is the radio volume knob. Seems to have a little bit of plastic missing, again, probably because of someone's nails. But that's it. That's all I can really detect from where I'm sitting, that this car would have over 200,000 miles. And honestly, I've seen chipped radio knobs like that in 65,000 mile Fiats. So this has held up incredibly well. And I also did a video of an RX 350 SUV from 2010 with over 260,000 miles. And the consensus was the same. If you look really close, you might see some slight signs of wear, but after 200,000 miles, these things held up incredibly well. I am very, very impressed with this car in terms of long-term reliability. And so if you're looking for a car on the used market, Lexus is a great way to go because they have so many great features, but also they'll last forever. Buying a used car, why wouldn't you get the upscale version? Why wouldn't you get the nice car? But at the end of the day, as we'll get back to my Toyota Avalon review, I don't know why, but I seem to favor the Avalon. I honestly cannot tell you a reason why. Maybe it's because it looks better. Maybe because it feels more honest. It doesn't have the Lexus badge, so it doesn't have this sort of stigma around it. Not that Lexus has a huge stigma, but it is a luxury brand, and pulling up in a Lexus, you sometimes get the, ooh, a Lexus. No one says, ooh, a Toyota. I don't know why. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I think I'd still take an Avalon. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Whatever it is, I like the ES too. One of these days, I'll drive an older generation ES, and I cannot wait for that. But for now, I'm happy with this one. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Toyota of Naperville for letting me take out their ES. 330 is one of their used vehicles on the lot. They have a bunch of used cars. I'm always driving cool and interesting vehicles from their lineup, and I'm slowly working my way through the back history of Toyota. Thank you to Toyota of Naperville. Please go check them out. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.